While the holidays are typically a joyful time for many, it can be tough for people who have broken off relationships with family. Research shows that about 25% of American adults are living with an active family estrangement. So joining us now to talk about this is the owner and director of Calm Pittsburgh. We have Dana Kirkpatrick back with us. So good to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I think we all need a little bit of therapy this Monday before a big holiday, so it's perfect. Talk to us first about what estrangement is, what it looks like for families.
Well, I think it's really hard to think of a family that doesn't have estrangement at this point. People are living longer, so there's a lot of traditions that are hard to upkeep. But one of the main issues with estrangement is when somebody's choosing not to engage with their family, or their family is not choosing to engage with that person. So it can be on one end or the other. A lot of times it's when boundaries are made and they're not respected. Yeah. So, we see a lot of different reasons. You have kids, so if you say like, our kids are, I've seen this with people, like one kid's allergic to peanuts. We can't be at the house if there's peanuts, and people are like, I want to eat peanuts. And then you're like, okay, well, you're choosing to not have us at your house. So that would be an estrangement, something.
And that's an idea of estrangement.
Yeah.
And I feel like this could both ways. If somebody is setting those boundaries, the other person maybe doesn't understand fully.
Correct.
Both sides of this relationship are going to feel that strain and that loss around the holidays.
Correct.
Right?
Correct, especially around the holidays. And one of the things, like if you would come to the office, we don't have decorations up or anything because we like to stay consistent, because like we were just talking about, change is scary.
Change can be scary,
and so when,
right?
if something that could be our best memory could be traumatic for somebody else. So it's easier to just kind of, for inclusivity, to kind of stay consistent. But even now, like I was talking to my daughter in the green room about like, well, right now is estranging, you had a turkey earlier on, or on PTL there, and the idea of like having vegans right now.
Right.
They're estranged from their whole families if they cannot or don't want to sit in a room where people are eating turkey. It makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
For some people.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the word boundaries, and we hear about this a lot. So what is the difference between boundaries and estrangement, or is there a difference between them? Do they kind of like cross a line with each other?
I guess it would be, a boundary would be like the warning of like, if you're telling your kid not to touch something, it's like, hey, I put that boundary up, you're not to do that. And then they don't follow the boundary, the consequence is the estrangement. The same, we see a lot of, I have a lot of clients, they have given me permission, I've talked about this in the last couple of days, and the examples are just flying. So a lot of it is, I have single women who they choose to be single, I have single men who choose to be single, and then going home for the holidays is hard because everybody asks, when are you getting married? What's wrong?
Have you met anybody? Why haven't you met anybody yet?
Yes, well, Heather has 3 kids, and why can't you have kids? It's like, maybe they don't want kids. So being inclusive to what you want might not be what everybody wants. Right. So just, I be curious, not judgmental. The other thing with estrangements, I think, in general is you may never understand it, but you have to respect it. Yeah. So that idea of, don't get caught up in why do they think this way? How can I change it? What about this? It's like, how can we tolerate? How do we go and be polite? And
You brought something up, and this has nothing to do with estrangement, but because you brought it up, I'm just so curious because I think this will apply to people at home too. If you are going to be gathering for the holidays with family, is there a better way to ask some of those milestone questions? There are some people who want to get married and want to have kids, and they may not be bothered by that question. Is there a way to be curious without feeling judgmental in those situations?
I think sometimes open-ended questions, where are you going to school? Like, what are you thinking about doing? Or my daughter's home from college. So, we were joking, like you could get a t-shirt made saying like, I'm going for this is what I like to do, blah, 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 blah. But it's probably going to change too. So, being able to, I had a yoga teacher who would say, respond, don't react. So remember that people are coming from every experience. If they're not out and about, I think since the pandemic, we're not very good at peopling again.
Right.
So this, these holidays, everyone seems to be one more to start like training ourselves to re-people.
So what if you want to reconcile? Because sometimes it may not be, this week, but maybe after the holidays, you've realized, I really miss so-and-so, and I really do want to reconnect. Is there a way to start that conversation again?
Yeah, the real big importance, and I see this with like therapy in general and couples counseling and stuff, is understanding that doing something is sometimes in like breathing, you're doing something by not doing something. So if you offer an olive branch, like you send a text and say, hey, just thinking of you. If they don't respond back, you can't, well, done, I tried. You have to give space and time. And then, you know, maybe if there's not like something that's, you know, anything back, then you can send a card. You know, like start very with least invasive to most invasive.
Got it.
Because we see a lot of the, you know, moms who call me for their, you know, 50, 40-year-old woman who I see saying, why isn't she doing this? I'm like, I can't answer the phone, and I don't because of those things.
Right. So much good information. Dana, thank you so much. We know that the holidays aren't always easy, but hopefully these tips will help.
Yep.
All right, Calm Pittsburgh has locations in both Lawrenceville and Monroeville. They offer virtual therapy sessions. We'll have more information on our website, kdka.com/talkpittsburgh. Coming up on the show, a local photographer is using pictures to empower other women. We headed out to her studio to get a first-hand look at the unique shoot.